Hi everyone, welcome to Electric Car Australia, and something a little different today. We're introducing a new format called News Bites to cover interesting or earth-shattering developments in the world of electric cars or sustainable living. Okay, maybe not earth-shattering, but stuff that we think might be of interest to you guys. We'll do a short News Bites video on it. But don't worry, if there's nothing exciting or great happening, we won't bother to do it. At the end of the video, please leave us a comment. Let us know what you think of the new News Bite format, and hit the subscribe button to let YouTube know that what we produce in videos you think's interesting and it's worth watching, and they'll share it with other people. Okay, so let's get into it. Today we're looking at government incentives for buyers of EVs here in Australia. So the ACT was the first out of the blocks with a small but meaningful EV incentive as part of the ACT Government Sustainability Scheme. The Australian Capital Territory scheme provides interest-free loans for residents up to $15,000 for sustainability initiatives, including the purchase of an electric car. The scheme was recently expanded to include second-hand and EV conversions, as well as the cost of installing EV chargers at home. Additionally, the ACT scheme provides free registrations for 2 years for both new and second-hand EVs for individuals and businesses. This deal is available from the 24th of May 2021 until the 30th of June 2024. But just keep in mind the free 2-year rego does not include your compulsory third-party insurance, so you'll still need to pay that. And unfortunately at this stage it doesn't cover electric motorcycles. So if you're into the electric Harleys, unfortunately you're out of luck at the moment for the incentive. So within the next 12 months they will also look at installing 50 new EV chargers are being rolled out in the Territory as part of a general support package for electric cars and sustainable transport. Let's move to Victoria, which last month made global headlines with the introduction of the world's first EV tax, along with some purchase subsidies for new EVs. The Victorian Government initiatives and tax are part of a package of measures to support their target of having 50% of all new vehicles being zero emissions by 2030. Given all Australian state governments are a bit slack at meeting their environmental and sustainability targets, we'll believe it when we see it, but it's a great start. Much better than the federal government, but that's another story for a whole another day. So let's get into the detail of the Victorian EV incentives. So from May 2, 2021, Victorian residents and businesses with premises in Victoria could apply for a rebate of up to $3,000 off the price of a zero emissions vehicle with a retail price below 69,000 Australian dollars. So that means the Tesla Model 3 standard range, which currently here in Queensland is 66,500 drive away with no extras, would come in under that figure. So you could get your $3,000 rebate off the Tesla. Also the Nissan Leaf or the MG ZS EV, which is currently Australia's lowest priced EV at $44,000 drive away, they also easily fit into this bracket. Now the first release is 4,000 vehicles under this scheme with a total of 20,000 vehicles under the total scheme, which the government has said may change after the first 4,000. So watch this space. They could change the rules, which they quite often do. So according to the driven.io website, 400 new registrations for electric vehicles were received under the new scheme in the first week of its release. So it just goes to show how much pent-up demand there is in that lower end of the EV market. People are just waiting for these sorts of things and they're signing up straight away. So in addition to the above rebates, Victoria has also pledged to spend $19 million on EV charging infrastructure and electric charging stations, so that's good to see. And the Victorian Government has also committed to spend $10 million over the next 2 years to purchase up to 400 electric vehicles for the Victorian Government fleet, and they're saying that that will be 50% of the fleet converted to EVs or zero emission within the next 2 years. So finally, let's look at the recently announced $490 million package from the New South Wales Government. This initiative is designed to encourage EV adoption and meet a target of 50% of all new car sales being EVs by 2030 in the state of New South Wales. The EV scheme seems to be leading the race between the states at the moment, so overall it appears they do have the best package, including for infrastructure. So let's get into the detail. The headline is to reduce the upfront cost of the purchase of 25,000 eligible electric vehicles from 1st of September 2021. Both battery electric and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles qualify for a $3,000 rebate if their purchase price before the rebate, including GST, is below $69,000. Stamp duty on new EVs will also be waived, providing a saving of up to $5,500. The New South Wales Government has also committed to transition the entire government vehicle fleet to all electric models by 2030, so that's an ambitious plan. So again, we hope they can make it. However, we do note, as I'm sure you will too, that elections have a bad habit of changing directions. But hats off, if they can make it all government fleet by 2030, all electric, that will be fantastic. And finally, the EV good news continues with a $171 million spend commitment on new charging infrastructure across the state, which combined with the already great fast charging that NRMA have provided across New South Wales, this will be a big boost. Now for the fine print. The New South Wales Government will also introduce a road user tax for electric cars of 2.5 cents a kilometre in today's dollars, or 2 cents for a plug-in hybrid. So that means by the time it's introduced in 1st of July 2027, it could actually be a little higher than that if they escalate it with inflation. But they've also said that it could come in when 30% of new vehicles are EVs. So that gives us a rough idea when it would come in, whichever happens first. It would replace the stamp duty and partially replace fuel excise. I'm not sure how they're going to manage that one though, because fuel excise is a federal tax. So unless they've got the federal government to agree to that one, I'm not sure how they'll roll that one out. And I guess like Victoria, they think it's easier to get these taxes through now, while less than 1% of us drive EVs here in Australia. It's an easier way to push the tax through, and it's already locked in legislation. So by the time people start to buy EVs, it's already there. So watch this space. So look, in closing, it's great to see some progress in supporting EVs here in Australia, but let's not kid ourselves. Zero emissions vehicles are not the silver bullet to reduce emissions and slow climate change. Although it's a start, we really need the federal government to get into gear in this space here in Australia. Being around 17% of Australia's total greenhouse gas emissions and a big part of particulate pollution, vehicles are an important part. However, encouraging new purchase of EVs through any incentives will take years to flow through to reductions in greenhouse gases, even if we double or triple the EV uptake each year. Particularly, as I mentioned, we're less than 1% of registrations now. Just putting it out there, maybe incentives should target commercial vehicles, which are bigger, heavier and dirtier and do longer kilometres. Maybe a cash for clunkers system to remove the most emissions intensive vehicles from the road first is a better idea. Or maybe an all-encompassing plan like New Zealand has recently introduced. We won't go into that in this video, but have a Google, find out what they've done, some fantastic ideas over there, providing EV rebates, and also small, compact, efficient cars with rebates, and taxing the heavier duty, more polluting and thirsty vehicles. So that might be a better option. Anyway, what's your thoughts? Let us know in the comments what you think. That's it. Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments if you like the News Bite section. If you do, we'll do more of them, and we'll also get a better background instead of the blinds. If you're not a subscriber, please hit that button. It's an easy and free way to help us stay independent and bring you unbiased EV and sustainability living info. We call BS when we see it, just like self-charging hybrids, which don't exist. Oh, and don't forget, if you want some one-on-one expert EV advice, visit our website and book a meeting with us or a test drive, and we'd be more than happy to help you out. Until next time, stay safe.